Hi, Linda Fussell here. It is a day 12's reflections, a day 12 of the UK coronavirus lockdown. So this is end of Saturday, and what have I experienced, learnt, captured over the last 2 days? What insights have I gathered? And I think there's a couple of very interesting ones. Firstly, an awareness how differently people are reacting and responding and finding this time. I think the people that I ordinarily engage with, that being my clients, my friends, fellow coaches or people in sort of my community, and business people in Harrogate, in the local area. And then also, I guess when I say that local area, but I've got a lot of contact and interaction with people all across the world, not only because I've lived in many places, which is a big part of it, but also I don't know, just through social media you get to talk to lots of people. And so just seeing how people are finding things and what's been going on has been really I want to say eye-opening. We all know about mental health issues. That has been a big thing before this all happened. We've all been talking about and anticipating there you go what this would mean through this time. And I've spilt my water. There you go. What's that about? Okay, so we've all been talking about mental health anyway for months and months, and we know that this time of being in lockdown, being forced to spend a lot of time either in isolation, and what that does to people, or being isolated with a group of people that you might not be the happiest spending time with, does bring challenges, or being in an environment that's not making you happy. So, difficult relationships are one thing. Being with, not having a good relationship with your children and finding, tensions and things there can be difficult. But also just being in maybe a smaller place than is ideal when there's a large number of you. And this does happen to lots of people. And the one thing that we've got in the UK that I know in South Africa, for instance, they don't have, we can still buy alcohol, and the liquor stores are open. Now, in South Africa, they banned the sale of alcohol during the lockdown, which has got good points and bad points. But as I think I mentioned this in a previous post, as Russell Brand was saying, addicts are really finding life difficult now, and with having the isolation and access to various alcohols, etc., I think there are some challenges there. But the thing that I've become, as ever, these things pop up in my world, two insights, two different spectrums really, two different angles on the spectrum. First one is we had a family quiz, which was great. We had an online quiz where as a family we got together. So that was myself here, my parents, my two daughters and their husbands from their place, and then my brother and his family. And we got together in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and had a pub quiz, and just had some time together. And watching reactions to that has been interesting. Some of us who are used to doing online things, no problem at all. And the kids obviously no problem. My parents, it was the first time on Zoom, and it was quite stressful for them. It was stressful getting set up, even though it's not difficult. It was stressful for them getting set up. And there was quite a bit of tension with them even after the quiz. Now, it was light-hearted and it was fun, and there was daft questions, and there was my one daughter had done an amazing job of going through our Facebook posts and pulling up things from the past that you kind of best left forgotten. But anyway, so there were some fun things, but I was very aware that my mother in particular was very stressed about it. She had a big headache after doing that, and it was purely the stress of something so different. And I know, I mean, I've been very aware of this for a long time. The older folk in particular struggle tremendously with change. We all struggle with change, but the old folk really struggle with change, and particularly technological change. So that was an interesting observation. And to Joe Thackeray and I have been, we met last week and we've been talking about that as well. It's been on, she shared it on social media that we had good time together on Thursday. One of the things that we're working on is pulling together time to be present with people, and we have one specifically for the older generation, just to help them connect, help them understand who they, that they can get out there and how to connect and how to do these things. So we've got that happening. So that was sort of the one concept of the older generation. And then the other area that I was have been really aware of again are the younger generation. And we talk about stress and mental health and all these things, but the younger generation, and I don't know how young to go because my kids are now big, they're adults and they're married, but the youngest that I'm talking to that have independently found me is 16, and sort of between 16 and, I want to say 30, but probably even younger, probably 25, maybe 26. A lot of them are students, not all of them are students, but there are some real stresses and strains in that group of people. A lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of panic issues, a lot of eating disorders, all sorts of things. And when we start uncovering them, I want to say the peer pressure, but there's in a majority of cases, in a large number of the cases that I deal with, they are coming from a situation of a very difficult childhood. So again, where there's been alcohol or drug abuse by parents, where there's been physical abuse, where there's been abandonment. There's been all sorts of different issues there, but it's not the only one. That's definitely the overriding. As a child, I expect my parents to look after me, and it hasn't happened, and now I'm feeling I just don't know where I fit in the world. And there are those things, but there's also even those that had amazing childhoods. Yep, that's right. Are also struggling. It's a tendency, it's a theme of, I think the youngsters are able to speak out. And I've had one lass who hasn't told her mother that she's reached out, doesn't want to share it, wants to keep it very private, which is, I absolutely respect. And that's, when you work with me, unless you choose to share things, people don't know you're working with me, so that's how it works. But this lass has and I've got a couple like this, have very good backgrounds, have nothing to, in theory, be unhappy with, and yet they are feeling the pressure and going, I really ought to be really happy, but I'm not, and I'm really stressing, and there's an expectation. So I'm seeing, amongst other things, there's an expectation of, I don't want to put the pressure on, I don't want other people to worry about, I really ought to be doing this and I'm not focused enough. And I want to shake them and go, it's perfect. You're not broken, and all those things that you're feeling are human things. That's what we do as humans. That's what emotions are about. But you don't need to live someone else's life. You need to live your own life. And the youngsters are still living with the expectation hanging over their head. They are expected to do well in school. They are expected to do well at university. They are expected to do whatever, and make the most of their lives and pull themselves together and just get on with it and not feel things. And sort of looking at both sides of this, I think these are just ones that I'm seeing, but I don't think it's it's unique there. I'm trying to think now. Have I mentioned book club? I think I did book club in the last one, where even that group of people in the middle are struggling. And I think we're all struggling. It's just who's reaching out and who's talking to people. And it's really important. ITV has the Keep Britain Talking, Get Talking Britain campaign. And it is essential. More than ever, when we're in isolation, we do need to be reaching out. We do need to be talking to others. And it's great to talk to family and friends. You need to do that too. Make contact with people. You've really got no excuse now. You don't have to rush around there with a cake and flowers and whatever. What you do have to do is pick up the phone and make a call. It doesn't have to be a video call. It can just be a telephone call, but just make the call, make contact, just reach out. It's good for you and it's good for them. And then also find time to do things that are good for you. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? What do you feel like doing? How do you want to spend this time? And again, I've mentioned this before. I have a real worry that at the end of the time, I'm going to get there and go, wow, what did I achieve in that time? And I know that I'm working really hard towards doing those things, and I'm watching people around me who are not doing anything that I can perceive. There are a lot of people that are doing a lot of, and I've mentioned this, baking cakes and doing things like that, which is fabulous. It's good to be doing that, but you can only eat so many cakes. And while you can make them and donate them to other families and things, there is a real risk of what sort of hygiene factors are being maintained. It's not an established routine and established restaurant or catering facility or whatever. So there are things to consider with this. But being kind to your neighbours and talking to people and baking cakes for your neighbours or whatever, that's brilliant. But do something for you. Stop looking outside. We do need to do things for other people, but we need to be really focused on ourselves. What do you need out of this time? What do you want in your life? What do you want in your family world, in that little creation? What things are there for you? So I'm going to leave today's thoughts with that, about considering you and really taking insights from people that are struggling, and how can you acknowledge where you're struggling and what you're going to do about it, and then how can you reach out once you've worked out where you are and help others. But you need to look after you first. There's amazing people at the shops doing shopping for the street, and yet they're so stressed, and they are, I saw a lady just about have a meltdown in the co-op on, it was today, this afternoon, on Saturday, and she was literally hyperventilating and all over the place because she was doing the shopping for the whole street, and obviously there's sort of restrictions and how can you be doing this, and she was, anyway, it all got resolved, and she just had to speak nicely to the manager of the store. But those are the pressures that, if we're not looking after ourselves, are going to surface. And we want to surface them. We want to look at where the pressure points are and what we can do differently. And then we want to look at how we can address them and how we can change the way we think, what we're doing, and make the most of this time. This is an absolutely unique time. We have a unique opportunity to pull together as a nation, as a community, as a humanity, and we have a unique opportunity to see what happens in the world when we're quiet, because we are being quiet now. There's far less vehicles on the road. We're able to observe spring and see things around us, and it's wonderful. So I leave you with that, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good weekend.